Charybdis. I am sitting in a cafe sipping chai and staring at the Arabian Sea. I wear a lungi and not much else. I am barefoot, my toes rest in sand. It took me more than a full day on a train to get here. I walked over 2 miles from the bus stop with my full pack in the midday sun. I tramped up and down the beach talking to different guest house owners. Many places were full. Some were too expensive, others were simply unfriendly. But this one is perfect. Little bungalows around a small courtyard lined with flowers, and weathered benches on each porch. The rooms are rustic and basic, like most backpackers' digs, though there is a shower and bathroom included. And the property also has a little cafe off the front, at the edge of the beach. The woman who owns the place is also the cook. She makes me an omelet every morning, a masala omelet with the freshest eggs you've ever tasted. There are no ATMs here and I am out of cash. I gave the owner a deposit when I checked in, and though she does not know me from any other scruffy, unwashed backpacker, she is letting me carry the balance on a tab until I can get to a bank for a credit card advance or some other form of financial miracle. 3 nights ago, I met a young American who carries a backpack guitar, rolls a perfectly conical joint, and seems wise beyond his 18 years. I wake him up this morning on my way to breakfast. We skip my usual routine at the guest house and walk, barefoot, down the beach to a place with card tables spread out in the sand. We order some eggs and coffee, smoke a little hash, and watch the dolphins swim by in front of us. The rest of India and its hardships are far, far away. The kid and I rent scooters and go to a secret cove a few miles south of Goa. We spend the afternoon body surfing in the ocean waves and climbing around on the rocks on one end of the beach. Though we have no real plan and bought only 2 bottles of water and 2 beers, we decide to spend the night here. We catch crabs with our bare hands and cook them over a campfire left hot by local fishermen. We drain the beers, and when the fire burns out, we go to sleep on the beach, covered up with our lungis. The next day, we walk up to the only cafe in the tiny fishing village. For about 50 cents, we dine like kings on the fisherman's morning catch, with rice, a bowl of masala sauce, and a cold beer. Again, I think, maybe this is the thing. This place. The American is not the only companion I've collected since I've been on this beach. The morning after I arrived, I was sitting in my Indian mom's cafe, sipping chai and staring at the Arabian Sea, wearing a lungi and not much else, sand beneath my toes, when a young Indian woman, almost too old to still be selling fruit on the beach, approaches me and asks if I want a henna tattoo. That isn't all she says, but that is the point. She is clever, and so she makes conversation, pretends to be interested in why I am here and where I come from. Like most young Indian women, she is striking. She also moves and speaks with a healthy measure of self-confidence. She knows her game, knows she does not have the benefit of childlike cuteness, like all the children all around her who sell trinkets on the beach. And she knows she cannot come off as too grown up either, or she'll be taken for a prostitute, which she definitely is not. She's somewhere between these 2 worlds, and she plays her self-invented role in this in-between world with ease and grace. Though I started out in India naive and a bit doe-eyed, this many weeks into my journey, I've developed my share of wariness against being scammed. But I also possess something many backpackers don't, a willingness to pay a little something extra for an intentional experience, to follow an interesting stranger, to take a road less sure, just to see where it might lead. And so, with open eyes, the girl and I have become friends, in our own way. I paid her for a henna tattoo during that first meeting, of course, but I've also secured her daily companionship by promising to buy 200 rupees worth of fruit from her every day while I am here. This is an experience worth every bit of the less than $5 a day I pay for it. Because it means that several times a day, all the trinket-selling children on the beach sit down in a circle with us, and I ask different ones to choose which fruit to cut open. Then she cuts the pineapple, or the watermelon, or the mangoes, and we pass the slices around to all the little hands and mouths. While we eat, I ask them to tell me about their day so far. For a few moments, I am not a Westerner for them to sell things to, and they can forget their hustle and just be children, eating fruit on the beach. It is a wonderful and unique communion that I could not have expected, or maybe even imagined. Eventually, the girl's family invites me to dinner. I walk the half-mile down the beach to their hut. It has an A-framed roof and is no taller than 6 feet at its center. It sits on the side of a dry ravine, 100 yards or so from a touristy beachside restaurant. I am invited inside to sit on the dirt floor and eat. There is a tiny fire pit at one end where all the meals are prepared. Pots and bags of clothes and other sundry are hung around the tops of the walls. The food is good, simple, spicy, and fresh. They offer me bottled water, but I drink from their pitcher instead. I have no illusions about why I am here. Because I am an American, they believe I have more money than I do. I have been unsuccessful so far at convincing any Indians, including them, that I am not wealthy. I know I'm here because they would like to charm me into giving them some kind of gift. Gold jewelry for the girl's dowry, or something of like value. But they are also genuinely nice to me all the same. They are curious about who I am, where I come from, and what I do for a living. And as I've explained, I am willing to pay something for the experience, even if it turns out I am not the captain of the ship they imagine me to be. Her father and her sister's husband are outside chewing pan, where the children are playing. Her sister continues cooking over the fire. Only the girl sits briefly to eat a little food with me. I eat with my hands, as I have been doing virtually since I landed on the subcontinent. Occasionally, the girl corrects my technique. It is a strange mixture of tenderness and scrutiny. I feel at once honored by the invitation to this humble feast, and also somehow unworthy. Though I have been honest about my means, I know they do not believe me. Ultimately, I know I will not meet their expectations. Should I then refuse their invitation? Forgo this experience? The answers are not easy to come by. Perhaps I take solace in the fact that I am already doing what I can to support them. The family invites me to go inland with them. Apparently, they have a small farm in Karnataka. In all, I've gone almost 3 weeks without shoes, and I'm not that thrilled about putting them back on. But I came here to find something, and I don't know where it will be. So until a voice inside warns me otherwise, I am willing to follow the threads that are laid out for me. The morning of our departure, as I walk down the beach to their hut at dawn, there is a full moon hanging above the ocean horizon to the west, and a sun just coming up in the east. 2 perfect spheres watching over me, a perfect balance of the universal masculine and feminine. It is a long, hot ride inland on another bus with no shocks. We stop a few times at roadside cafes to take restroom breaks and for snacks. At each stop, Qualls selling peanuts and pakoras in newspaper cones hawk their edibles through the open bus windows. The family's youngest son tugs at me to buy him something at every stop. On the 3rd leg of the journey, the heat, the fried food, and the constant jars and jolts prove too much for the boy, and he throws up on me. His father hands me a cloth to clean it off my arm, but no one seems too surprised or concerned by this small indignity. I stay at their house in Karnataka for 3 days. I sleep on the floor, on a pallet of sorts, in a big main room with the rest of the family. During the days, I am walked around the town and introduced to family after family. I discover that I am only the second white person most people in the town have met, both of us delivered by my host family. To refuse what is offered at these visits would be an unthinkable insult, and so I am stuffed so full of puffed rice and other snacks by the end of each tour that I can hardly move. I go to the fish market and to the produce markets, and, since I cannot speak their language, the only thing for me to do is watch them carefully in their dealings with each other. No exchange is straightforward. Everything is a conversation, a negotiation, a process of bargaining. And, whether it is to prove a point for future bargaining or some other reason unknown to me, sometimes they walk away without completing the deal. No one seems terribly upset by this. The second day, they walk me over to a nearby plot where a concrete foundation has already been poured. They explain as well as they can that this house will be for the girl and her future family. Then, almost directly afterwards, they take me to visit someone who appears to be a banker, and the picture becomes more clear. The banker speaks perfect English and fills me in on their exact expectations, even giving me an account number where I can wire money for the project. So now I am in the middle of nowhere, India, without any idea how to get to the next town, and at the mercy of a family who have expectations I can't possibly meet. Though I really have no idea what to say, I try again to explain. I'm traveling in India because I'm not a rich American, and India is quite affordable compared to Europe. But people everywhere hear what they want and believe the same. Probably as a result of the stress of this new development, I have a terrible allergic reaction to something. For the rest of the day, I am reduced to sneezing and blowing my nose on the stash of toilet paper I retrieved from my backpack. There are no allergy tablets or other store-bought Western remedies here. Instead, the family matriarch prepares a special concoction for me, but it isn't for me to eat or drink. She stands me in her kitchen and passes a pan containing the red, steaming hot liquid up and down the length of my body. She does this 3 times, while chanting something I don't understand. I lie down on the floor immediately after dinner and sleep like I'm dead until after the sun comes up. The next morning I convince the family I must leave to meet a friend in a town called Hampi. Alone on the bus and extricated from this latest entanglement, I feel better almost immediately. Once again, I am free. I don't think that was the thing.